What's going on, guys? I'm Latronus, and today I'm finally bringing you my Warden Healer DPS hybrid build. This is an amazing build. It's vet worthy, it's end game worthy, it's so much fun to play. I think it's the best way to play the Warden. So if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. This is the first build video I've ever done, so if I leave anything out or you guys have any questions about the build, go ahead, leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to answer whatever questions you may have. We're just going to start off this build by going through these skills. I'm going to try to keep it light, keep it fluffy, not go like crazy in depth to everything because it would just take so long. We're going to start with the first bar, which is the Restoration Staff bar. This is your main healing bar, and then the back bar is going to be a Destruction Staff with a DPS bar. So the first skill we have is Fungal Growth, which you're going to change into Enchanted Growth. This is just a cone heal. It is your best burst heal for the class, so you definitely want to have it slotted. Budding Seed is a skill that you want to have up all the time. Every 6 seconds, it gives a big heal to your entire group. Plus, it has a really good healing synergy for your tank. It can also, if you do the Budding Seed morph, you can spam it, so you can put it up, and then if you activate the skill again, it will immediately activate the bloom, healing all your allies instead of having to wait 6 seconds. But I only do that if all my teammates are really low health. Other than that, I'll just leave it and let it go out its whole 6-second duration and then heal everybody and then put it back up. The next skill is Healing Springs, and this is another AoE heal ability. It lasts for 3 seconds. It does 4 procs of 1108 health, and when you initially set it out, if it heals somebody, it gives you a little bit of Magicka in return, which is really awesome. Next up is the only damage dealing skill on this side of the bar. This is called Deep Fissure. Basically, you just want to pop this as you're switching to your DPS bar because it takes 3 seconds for it to pop. So you pop it, it stuns one enemy in front of you and then does a bunch of area damage in a huge lane. So it's really nice to throw that down, switch to your DPS, start DPSing, and then have this proc in the middle of your DPS rotation. This next one is called Rapid Regeneration. This is just 16.5 seconds of consistent healing, so it's 9,624 health over 16.5 seconds. This should always be up. This ground AoE healing spring should always be up. Always be up, and Budding Seeds should always be up. And then you have your Enchanted Growth for burst healing up those guys who get like knocked down or burst damage down super quickly. You can use Enchanted Growth to get them up really fast. And then finally, we are running Wild Guardian, which is the bear ultimate from the Animal Companion skill line. And basically what this does is it's just a little tanky, basically. It does do some damage and below 25% health. It has an execute that can do up to 28,000 damage. So if you're like fighting a boss or whatever, as soon as it goes below 20%, 25% health, then you have a little bit of an execute to do some more damage. But other than that, if all your guys die, then the boss can be attracted to the bear and attack the bear instead of you, so you can take that time to heal up your allies or to pick people up off the ground. It doesn't always work, but it's really nice to have the bear to distract, basically. So I'm going to go through and hurry and say where all these skills are from, because I totally forgot to say that. So Enchanted Growth is from Green Balance. Budding Seeds is also from Green Balance in the Warden skill line. Healing Springs is from the Restoration Staff skill line, along with Rapid Regeneration. And then Deep Fissure is from the Animal Companion skill line. All these can be unlocked pretty dang early. I think the hardest one to unlock would really be the Rapid Regeneration. But other than that, it's really early on heals, so you can get into those dungeons healing very quickly. The back bar is all of our damage abilities. These are all AoE abilities, and everything is timed. So you're going to switch, so every 8 seconds you switch to your back bar, throw out all your DPS, and then you switch back to your front bar, throw out all your heals, switch back to your back bar, throw out all your DPS, and that's kind of how this class works. So we're going to go ahead and go on and just go through the skills like we just barely did. First up is Blockade of Storms, which is found in the Destruction Staff skill line. It's called Elemental Blockade. The reason it's called Blockade of Storms is because I'm using a lightning staff. You can see what the different staffs do. They add like little bonuses basically. So the Blockade of Storms sets concussed enemies off balance, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Winter's Revenge, which is part of the Winter's Embrace skill line. Winter's Revenge just allows you to cast it farther out. The other morph casts it around you in a circle, which is really good for tanks, but since we're a healer, we're usually going to be farther out of the battle, and be able to cast this AoE into the battle is really, really nice. It also gives a 30% movement reduction for 3 seconds out of the 6 seconds that it's there. Next up, we have Harness of Magicka from the Light Armor skill line, which is an amazing ability. It absorbs 8,468 damage over 6 seconds, so you want to have this up virtually all the time, or when you're, boss fighting and there's like a lot of damage going on, because this ups your health by so much. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but the points you put into health, I only put 8 points into health, and that gives me about 12,000 health, and then both your rings should be health too, which gets you up near 16,000, and then this 8,000, will put you well above 20,000 health, which is really, really cool. It also, every time you absorb spells, it gives you 747 Magicka, and that effect is increased by 5% for each piece of light armor equipped, and this build does use 7 pieces of light armor, so that is a lot of Magicka you get back from getting damaged by spells while using Harness Magicka. Next up, we have Fissure Infection, which is the best morph for this by far. Basically, it deals 8,718 damage over a period of time. You want to put this on the boss, and then the second cast you do does 50% increased damage, so that's going to be doing 12,000 damage over 10 seconds. So you want to put this on the boss as much as possible. And then finally, the Blue Betty is another one of those skills that you want to have up all the time, but this one you don't have to worry about as much because its duration is 25 seconds, and it also has no cost to cast, so there's really no reason why it shouldn't be up all the time. And about every 3 or 4 bar switches back and forth, you just pop the blue Betty. So basically it just does 3,871 Magicka over 24 seconds and gives you major sorcery, increasing your spell damage by 20%. Effectively, since most of our stuff we're using is spells, basically increasing your damage by 20%, which is super cool. So you could definitely always have Blue Betty up. And what I recommend is you throw down Blockade of Storms, Winter's Revenge, Harness of Magicka, Fissure Infection, and then as you press Blue Betty, you're going to switch your bars back so it cancels the animation, but it still summons the Blue Betty. And then once you're back here, you're going to throw down Budding Seeds, Healing Springs, and then I usually throw down Deep Fissure, and then Rapid Regeneration, and then switch back to DPS bar and redo all of my AoEs and the Fissure Infection and everything. And then when my ultimate is ready, I cast that if they're below 25% health, or if it's like a boss fight, it's going to take a really long time, then you can do multiple casts of your ultimate, which for Wild Guardian just makes the bear do a lot more damage. It does like 8,000 damage if the target is above 25% health, and if it's below 25% health, it's up to about 28,000 damage, which is really good damage. So that is all of the skills we use for a class. I think that's the most important part of the class. Next up, we're going to be talking about all the passives and everything that I go into. It's just going to take a quick second. As you can see, Animal Companions, you want every single passive for Animal Companions, you want every single passive for Green Balance, and every single passive for Winter's Embrace. Ups your damage, ups your healing, helps with like Magicka recovery and armor and stuff. So yeah, you want everything from all 3 of your skill lines. And then the Destruction Staff, you want all of its passives, and then the Restoration Staff, you want all of its passives except Absorb. I personally don't use Absorb because I don't block spells a lot. If you feel like the 288 Magicka when you block a spell is worth it to put, the 2 skill points into, I'm sure it goes up to like 500 Magicka restoring for blocking a spell when you put 2 points into it. But personally, I don't really do that a lot, so it wasn't worth it to me to put those 2 skill points into it. As you can see, I still have 6 left, so I could put it in there, but I'm just not going to. In the Light Armor skill line, we did all of the passives in Light Armor, and then I'm pretty sure, yeah, if you're a High Elf, High Elf was definitely the very best race for this class, or for this build. I didn't really specify that before, but yeah, High Elf is definitely the very best race for this build, and you definitely want all of their passives. This is because it increases Destruction Staff experience, Magicka recovery, max Magicka, and Flame Frost and shock damage, which you do a lot of shock and frost damage with this class. That's going to sum up all these skills for the class. Now we're just going to talk a little bit about the armor. So what I decided to do with the armor, instead of getting all complicated for like dungeon runs and stuff, we just went with some simple but very effective craftable sets. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have 5 pieces of Twiceborn Star. What I do is I do the chest, the belt, the shoes, the pants, and the gloves. As you can see, the gloves aren't Twiceborn Star right now, but you want all of those to be Twiceborn Star, so you can have the 2 Mundo Stones. And the 2 Mundo Stones you want to run with this is going to be the Atronach and the Thief for increased spell critical damage, and then the Atronach is increased Magicka recovery. And then you want to run Divines, which increases the Mundo Stone effect on all, increases Mundo Stone effects by 5.5%, and if it's on all of your armor, then your magic recovery is going to be amazing, and your critical damage is going to be absolutely crazy too. So that is what you're going to run for those. And then for the rest of it, you want Julianos, which you want the Julianos for the hat and the shoulders, and then also both your weapons you want Julianos. I only have 1 weapon Julianos right now. I still need to get the other weapon Julianos. So that is basically just going to add Magicka recovery and some more spell critical for DPSing. And then your accessories, you're going to want to run Necklace of Willpower, Ring of Willpower, and another Ring of Willpower, so you get the full 3 item bonuses, which is 1215 match Magicka, just giving you a little bit bigger pool. And then also it adds 162 spell damage, so again, some more DPSing. This build is all about Magicka recovery, sustain, healing, and some damage. It does deal quite a freaking bit of damage. You will definitely have like 20 to 30% of your group's damage from you, and then easily be healing 70-80% of the damage also. So it's a very effective hybrid build, and it's just so much fun to play. Trying to think of what else I want to go through with this class. The champion point system, I have not come up with a super effective champion point distribution, since I am only champion 119. So if you're interested in looking for a good one of those, go check out Alcast's build. He has a great DPS build for Wardens, and he explains all the champion points for those. I would follow that exactly, except for let's go ahead and find it real quick. When he talks about the apprentice, I would take a piece of the apprentice points and throw them into blessed. Other than that, you can keep all of the same champion points that he's running, because it's increasing your magicka, it's increasing your resistance, it's increasing your spell damage, and with blessed, it's increasing your healing done. It increases critical strike damage, it increases, like when you do heavy attacks, how much magicka or stamina is returned to you. So yeah, that's basically all those champion points are just going to help you DPS even more. So yeah, I would definitely go with his his champion point distribution for the 300 CP or 630 CP champion distribution, whichever you fall underneath. If you're building the character from the ground up, most of these skills you can get at a pretty dang low level. The Destruction Staff is the second one to unlock. A bunch of these you unlock very early. The hardest one to get is probably going to be Harness Magicka, because that one you can't get until your light armor is level 50. So if you can't get Harness Magicka, you're going to definitely want to get Leeching Vines, and then this can be applied to you or to a friendly player, and basically every time you get damaged, you also get healed. So that is a good alternative for your Harness Magicka. However, it puts it on the weakest person, so it's not always going to put it on top of you, sadly. Yeah, that is the class that I have built. I think it is a really, really good class. I'm trying to remember, like, last second if there's anything that I left out of this. I don't think there is. I'm just trying to think for... Oh, one last thing. Almost completely forgot about this. These point distributions, I went 56 Magicka and 8 health. This will give you 12,000 maximum health and 24,000 maximum Magicka. Now these numbers, maybe the maximum Magicka may be a little bit affected by my armor and such, but this is an amazing stat distribution that you want to go for. I also completely forgot, I apologize, to tell you the traits for the armor. So Twiceborn Star and Julianos, you want to run Divines on every single one of those. And then both of your weapons, you want to run Sharpened. I think I said the Divines thing, but not the Sharpened thing. So you want to run the increased physical and spell penetration on both of your weapons. This will just help with DPSing. Which is definitely the weakest point of this class is DPSing. The strongest point would be healing. That's why all of the like extra stuff is going, like champion point stuff is going into DPSing, so you can DPS effectively. If you want to switch fully into a DPS build and not queue as a healer in a dungeon, Outcast build that I linked below has an amazing front bar that you can run that has a bunch of single target stuff, and then the back bar of mine, I'm pretty sure it's pretty dang similar to the back bar of his. I kind of took that DPS build, my healer build, and meshed them together because I realized that my healer build had a lot of extra Magicka and a lot of extra time to deal damage, so I decided to kind of make a DPS healer hybrid. Alright guys, that's going to sum up my entire build. If I missed anything, go ahead, tell me in the comments below. Ask your questions in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. If anything was like confusing or whatever, just let me know. I'll answer it. I'll clear it up for you guys. It was just a lot of stuff to get through. Hopefully we got through it effectively and in like a timely manner. I think it's going to be like a 15-minute video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is definitely the best build I've ever made. I've never even posted a video on a build. I just wanted to do this one because I'm so excited about it. It's so much fun to play. It does a lot of DPS for a healer, and it does a lot of healing for a healer. It does just as much healing as a full-blown healer build does, and it doesn't do as much DPS, but it brings your DPS from like 10% like a healer normally gets up to 20 to 30%. So it's a really amazing, impressive build. I'm having so much fun playing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, check out my channel for more Elder Scrolls Online content, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh wow, I'm trapping on the way down. I'm grinding on like a holy ray.